Imagine for a moment carrying a backpack, but not just any backpack, one stuffed with years of fear, pain, and confusion that you didn't ask for. That backpack is heavy. It weighs on your shoulders. It affects your choices, your relationships, and the way you see the world. And the first truth I want you to hear today, loud and clear, is this: none of it is your fault. Not a single ounce. You didn't create the trauma. You didn't deserve the pain. And yet somehow life handed it to you anyway. Let's start by facing the truth, because so many people spend their lives running from it. Childhood trauma is real. It's not something you can just think away or wish out of existence. It's the silent echo in your mind that sometimes wakes you in the middle of the night. It's the invisible weight that presses down on your chest when no one else is around. And for far too long, the world has whispered or even shouted that somehow it was your fault, that you could have done something differently, that you were responsible for the chaos or the pain that came into your life. But that is not the truth. It is never your fault. You were a child, vulnerable, learning, growing, and doing your absolute best with the tools you had, the environment you were thrown into, and the guidance you were given, or in many cases denied. And yet, the world often fails to give children the compassion, the protection, and the support they need. You experienced things that were beyond your control, things that no child should ever have to endure, and the scars, whether seen or unseen, are a testament not to your weakness, but to your survival. Every tear you shed, every moment of confusion, every day you endured the impossible, that was courage, that was strength. And the first step to moving forward is recognizing that pain, acknowledging it, and giving yourself permission to feel it fully without shame. Too often people try to bury it, to pretend it doesn't exist, to plaster a smile over the fractures in their heart, but denial only prolongs the suffering. The pain you carry isn't a flaw in you, it's a mark of what you survived. And acknowledging it doesn't make you weak, it makes you brave. It makes you human. It means you are willing to face what others might run from, to shine light on the darkest corners of your story, and to tell yourself that your experiences, as harrowing as they were, do not define your worth. It means recognizing that the anger, the fear, the confusion, the sorrow, they are natural responses to unnatural circumstances. And when you finally allow yourself to see them for what they are, when you validate the reality of what happened, something powerful begins to shift inside you. Because acknowledgement is not just about looking backward, it's about reclaiming your voice, reclaiming your identity, and reclaiming the truth that you are more than the sum of what happened to you. And once you do this, once you truly face the pain without judgment or blame, you create space for healing, for growth, for transformation. You honor the little person you once were who survived against all odds, and you honor the person you are becoming. Every step of this process starts with truth, and truth begins with acknowledging that yes, you hurt, yes, you suffered, and yes, none of it was your fault, but here you are, still standing, still breathing, still capable of more than you ever imagined. Now, let's move from acknowledging the pain to realizing the power you hold right now, because here is a truth most people never fully grasp. While you did not choose the pain, you do have the power to choose your response. You may feel trapped by what happened, as if the past has a permanent claim on your present. But the moment you recognize that every choice is yours, everything begins to shift. Choice is not about ignoring reality or pretending life was easy. Choice is about taking responsibility for your life today, for the life you want tomorrow. It is the ultimate tool of empowerment, and it's available to every single one of us, no matter how heavy the burden we carry. Imagine the possibilities if you understood that the change you feel are not permanent, that your circumstances do not have to define your identity or dictate your future. Every thought you think, every action you take, every decision you make is a chance to step out of the shadows of your past and step into the light of your potential. You get to decide whether you remain a prisoner of old wounds, letting fear, anger, or resentment control your steps, or whether you rise above them, refusing to be a victim of what once happened. And I'm not talking about a one-time decision. I'm talking about a daily, moment-by-moment commitment to reclaiming your life, because choice is powerful, but only when it is acted upon. You may have been told, or perhaps you've told yourself, that healing is complicated, that it's too late, that the damage is permanent. That is a lie designed to keep you small, to keep you bound, to keep you in the place you have always known. But the reality is this: your past can inform you, it can teach you, it can shape you, but it cannot control you unless you give it that permission. Every time you decide to respond differently, every time you choose growth over fear, forgiveness over anger, courage over avoidance, you reclaim a piece of your power. You move closer to the life that is waiting for you, a life unshackled by what once was. And make no mistake, the act of choosing is transformative. It rewires your brain, it reshapes your habits, it changes the trajectory of your relationships, your career, your emotional health. When you truly understand that freedom begins with choice, you no longer look to the world for permission to heal, you take it yourself. You step into your own authority. You own your story, and you refuse to let the circumstances of your childhood continue to dictate who you are, what you can achieve, or how you experience joy, love, and fulfillment. Every moment holds a choice, and with each choice, you create a new chapter in the story of your life. The power was inside you all along, waiting for you to claim it. And the first step is realizing that today, right now, you can choose. Choose to rise, choose to thrive, choose to break free, choose to finally live on your terms. Now, let's talk about beliefs, because nothing shapes the way you live, the choices you make, or the life you experience more than the stories you tell yourself. And here's the hard truth. If you were wounded as a child, if you experienced trauma, chances are you develop beliefs about yourself that are not only untrue, but deeply limiting. Beliefs like I am not enough, I am broken, I don't deserve happiness, I am destined to fail. These are not truths, they are the echoes of circumstances that were never yours to control. Yet for years, maybe decades, you have carried them like a weight, allowing them to define the boundaries of what you think is possible. And that is why breaking free from limiting beliefs is one of the most powerful acts of courage you can undertake. Because the moment you see that these beliefs are not facts, but stories you were told, assumptions you accepted, fears you internalized, you begin to reclaim the power that has always been yours. You begin to understand that your potential is not determined by your past, and your identity is not fixed by what happened to you. Every person who has transformed their life, every person who has risen above hardship, has done so by challenging the beliefs that told them they couldn't. And you can do the same. It begins with awareness. Noticing the thoughts that limit you, questioning them, and refusing to accept them as absolute truth. Then it moves to action, deliberately choosing to act in ways that prove those beliefs wrong, step by step, day by day. Because belief alone is not enough, it is belief coupled with action that creates change. And here is the most exciting part. When you break free from one limiting belief, it creates a ripple effect. The courage you cultivate in challenging one thought spills over into other areas of your life. The small victories build momentum, and suddenly you realize that the cage you believed you were trapped in was never real. It was a mirage, a construct of fear and misunderstanding. And as you push past these old beliefs, as you prove to yourself that you are capable, that you are worthy, that you can love, that you can succeed, that you can create joy, you discover a new identity emerging, one not defined by trauma, not defined by limitations, but defined by resilience, by strength, by possibility. And the beauty is this: the past no longer holds power over you. The scars may remain, but they are no longer shackles. They are reminders of how far you have come. Every belief you release, every story you rewrite, every fear you confront is a step toward freedom, toward the life you were always meant to live. And once you fully grasp this, once you embrace the idea that your mind is your most powerful ally, you start to see that the limits were never in the world outside, but in the stories you accepted about yourself. And the moment you reject those stories, the world opens up in ways you never thought possible. Now, ETs shift our focus forward, because one of the most powerful forces in life is the ability to imagine what is possible. When you've been shaped by trauma, it's easy to feel stuck, to think that the shadow of the past will always loom over you, that the pain you've endured defines the horizon of your life. But the truth is that your future is not dictated by your past, and the life you imagine is only limited by the boundaries you place on your own vision. And here is where transformation begins. By daring to see something different, by daring to believe that beyond the fear, beyond the scars, there is a life waiting for you that is bigger, brighter, and more beautiful than you've ever allowed yourself to imagine. Picture it for a moment, waking up each day filled not with anxiety, not with regret, not with self-doubt, but with purpose, with clarity, with energy, and with a sense of possibility that thrills you to your core. Imagine walking through your relationships free from the chains of past hurt, connecting authentically, loving fully, and being loved in return. Imagine pursuing your dreams without hesitation, without the inner voice telling you that you aren't capable. without the baggage of old beliefs holding you back. That future is not a fantasy. It is a destination within your reach. And the first step toward it is vision, the clear, compelling picture of who you are and who you are becoming. Because when you can see it, when you can feel it, your mind starts to align your actions toward it. You begin to make choices, take risks, and pursue opportunities that you would have ignored before. You start to embody the version of yourself who is already healed, who has already risen above the pain, who is already living a life of abundance, fulfillment, and joy. And the beauty of vision is that it is not static. It grows as you grow, expands as you expand, and fuels momentum that propels you forward even in moments of doubt. When you hold that vision in your mind and heart with unwavering faith, it becomes a beacon, guiding your steps, reminding you why you refuse to stay in the past, reminding you that every effort, every small victory, every choice to rise above is part of building the life you were meant to live. And the truth is that no one can give you this vision for yourself. It cannot be borrowed, it cannot be inherited, it cannot be handed down. It must be created by you with clarity, with passion, with imagination, and with courage. And as you cultivate this vision, as you allow yourself to feel it deeply, you will discover an energy inside you that you didn't even know existed. A drive, a resilience, a commitment to your own growth that becomes unstoppable. Because a clear vision does more than inspire, it demands action. It pulls you forward. It lifts you when you stumble. It reminds you that the life beyond pain is real, achievable, and waiting for you. And the only thing standing between you and that future is the decision to step into it, to embrace it, to own it, to see yourself not as a victim of your past, but as the architect of a remarkable, limitless, and extraordinary tomorrow. Now, knowing your past doesn't define you. Understanding your power, breaking free from limiting beliefs, and holding a vision for your future are all meaningless unless you act. Because transformation does not come from thought alone. It comes from movement, from the decision to step forward, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when fear whispers that you are not ready, even when doubt tries to convince you that change is impossible. There is a critical difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it, and that difference is where your life is waiting. Every day that passes without decisive action is another day that your past exerts its influence over you, another day that you reinforce old patterns, another day you remain stuck in the same story you've been trying to escape. The truth is that time does not wait, and opportunity does not linger. The life you imagine, the freedom you crave, the growth and fulfillment that are your birthright, they will not arrive on their own. You must claim them, and the claim begins with urgency. Urgency is the fuel that converts awareness into momentum. It is the fire that pushes you to confront your fears, to take the steps that seem daunting, to push past resistance, and to refuse to let the comfort of staying safe keep you tethered to your past. Because here's the reality: comfort is the enemy of growth. Safety may feel good in the moment, but it ensures that tomorrow will look just like yesterday. And if you have endured trauma, if you have carried pain, if you have fought to survive, staying comfortable is a disservice to the strength you have already shown. Action must be bold. Action must be consistent. Action must be immediate. Waiting for the perfect time is an illusion, because the perfect time does not exist. There is only now, this moment, this opportunity to decide that today you will not be defined by what happened to you, but by what you choose to do next. Every small step matters. Every choice to rise above fear, to speak your truth, to seek help, to embrace growth, to challenge old habits, each one compounds into momentum, and before long, you will see the extraordinary progress that comes from refusing to settle, refusing to wait, refusing to let yesterday dictate your tomorrow. And when you act with urgency, you inspire yourself, you inspire others, and you break the cycle of paralysis that trauma often imposes. The moment is here, the call is now, and the power has always been inside you. Your courage, your calm, it meant. Your willingness to step forward will determine whether you remain anchored to the past or rise into the life you were always meant to live. And the most remarkable part is that the first action, however small, can ignite a chain reaction that transforms everything. Your mindset, your emotions, your relationships, your health, your wealth, and your sense of purpose. Waiting is no longer an option. The life beyond pain is within reach, but only if you move toward it, claim it, and refuse to let another day slip by without embracing the extraordinary power and potential that has always been yours.